Hey everybody, it's Robb and Maureen, the Stromads, coming to you again from the forest in Kissimmee, Florida.
Deep, dark woods.
All right, our grandson loves that. Some of you may know, some of you may not. We're nomads, we're full-time nomads, and we want to talk a little bit about what is the nomadic lifestyle. It seems that when we talk to people and they find out we're nomads, they kind of seem to be fascinated with our lifestyle. So we thought we'd explore that a little bit today. What is a nomadic lifestyle? The definition is a day-to-day life of people who move from place to place without living in the same place all the time. So that we think fits us, has fit us for the last 20 years. We've been nomads. For the first 15 years of our nomadic lifestyle, we had a fixed base of operations, an FBO, if you will.
FBO.
And that was in Dover, Delaware. However, we traveled on average more than 275 days a year. And then we just decided 5 years ago to sell out. We sold our houses and became full-time nomads without a fixed residence. So that's where we are today. We have, in our 20 years, experienced a lot of different nomad lifestyles, or living, if you will. We've been in hotels, we've been in condos, we've been in private residences, Airbnb and casitas, all kinds of just really cool places, coffee plantations, just incredible spots that we've been able to get, apartments, timeshares. But currently we live in a 40-foot Class C Renegade RV, and that's where we live most of the time. Right now we are checking out 6 weeks in a condo. So you never know, you can do it however you want to do it. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get going here. Nomadic life for us is just a life of freedom and experience.
So for me, I guess I could probably say we could get all woo-woo with the nomadic lifestyle definition, as people would say. You know, there's probably some esoteric quotes or some profound words, but none of this, none of those words, none of those quotes will ever make any sense to you unless you feel it. Nomadic lifestyle, I believe, is a calling. You feel it, you know it. When it hits you, it is probably the most, I don't even know. You just know. You just know. Not everybody has it. Not everybody is a nomad. Our kids are not nomads. Isn't that hilarious? For being brought up on the road, both of them maintain these beautiful lives that are grounded in their communities, conventional work, they have homes, and they enjoy their life. We get to travel between the two of them. One lives on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and the other one lives on the other coast, on the left coast in Southern California. So how lucky are we as nomads that we get to travel between them? Those of us that are called to be nomads, we feel as a particular way. We're never at home. Never can we call anywhere, oh, this is home. But everywhere we go, we're like, oh, this is home. It's the weirdest thing, and I did not understand it until we started traveling.
Home is where we are, not where we live.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Some would say nomads have an internal wonderlust. It's, again, it's a feeling. You know when it's time to go. You might be someplace for 3 weeks. You might be someplace for a weekend. You might be somewhere for 6 months, but all of a sudden that alarm goes off and it is like, time to go. You just can't wait. It's something about the road life, moving from place to place, not knowing the zip code, and gosh, half the time we don't even know what time zone we are in.
It's confusing sometimes.
It can be, and it's so much fun. And sometimes we're waking up in a Walmart parking lot, and sometimes we're waking up to the call of the wild with the coyotes howling in the background. Sometimes it's a fancy hotel, which I get to call for room service, pancakes and mimosas, which is one of my favorites. Sometimes it's house sitting overlooking a beautiful vineyard. For some, not me, it's couch surfing, waiting for the next surfing tournament. I mean, how awesome is that to be young and be able to just go and do and be and experience life like that. Some people might say it's irresponsible. For us, I don't think so.
It's what we do. It's what we love. It's who we are.
I wrote this down and I'm going to refer to my notes on it, so you guys got to bear with me. Nomadic life is freedom and a life of experience. Like many others, we chose this way of living and we have zero regrets.
None.
We know we can return to conventional life at any time when we choose to do so. For now, it is road life.
So, where'd you get that wonderlust from, Maureen? How did that start?
God, it's so funny. And I hope I don't cry on this one. I had a chance to see an old friend last week, Stephanie. And Stephanie and I have been friends since, before first grade. We don't even remember. We know that it was before first grade. And her and I talked about life in our neighborhood. And it's funny. Both of us had that. We knew. We wanted to travel. We wanted to go. And yet we lived in this small neighborhood, and that was our whole life. That was everything that we knew until we didn't, until we left our neighborhood and we're like, oh my gosh, there's so much more. But the moment that I knew, and I can go back to this time after time after time, the moment that I knew that I wanted a lifestyle of, and I didn't know what it was back then, a nomadic lifestyle. I went to a carnival, and it was the St. Matthew's Carnival. For you guys that grew up in Newport and Richardson Park, you know where I'm talking about. Every year they would have a carnival come in, and finally we were old enough to walk to the carnival by ourselves. And I remember looking at they call them ride jocks, the guys that operate the rides, and I thought to myself, oh my God, what a cool life they have. They come into work at like 5 o'clock or whatever, and they operate these rides, and when it's all done, they just move on to the next town. And I connected. I didn't talk to any of them or anything like that, but I just connected there in the spirit and thought, that's the life I want. And gosh, who knew that it was going to be, how many eons later, that was the life that I was going to live.
Wow, that's exciting, and it's been exciting, and I think that's one of the things that really has been great for us, just because we both have that.
Well, I just told you mine. So now you got to tell me yours.
Well, it's a little different for me. I really think that it was almost genetic. My great-grandfather, my grandparents, and my parents, they were travelers. Most of them loved it, with the exception of my grandmother. She was so, when you talk about, it's got to be for you, you've got to have the bug, she didn't have the bug. She loved staying home. And that's okay. You just have to kind of work that out with your spouse. Now, Pop, he was a little bit more of a traveler. He'd say, woman, get ready. We're leaving in the morning. About 3 o'clock. Worry her to death, but they would go and they would travel. Luckily, Maureen and I don't have that.
Not true. Well,
I don't know. I've woken her up a few times in the middle of the night and said, get ready, we're leaving. We got a 6:30 flight. Let's go.
Pack a bag, we're going to Vegas. Pack a bag, we're going to the preview.
Yeah, that's the way it happens. Really, by the time I was 4 years old, I had traveled all of the eastern coast from Maine to Florida. One of actually my earliest childhood memories is from being in Canada. I think somewhere around 4.5 or so, in a park with my aunt, my mom, my grandfather, just visiting there and traveling there. So it's been on and on from there all my life. I just remember going and traveling, and being down here in Florida has always been a magical place for me, and being in the mountains is magical, and figuring out where the next spot is and how that works. So even, I've owned some very nice houses, and we had a very nice house in Dover with pool and a hot tub and acreage and everything, but it's still time to go. That's kind of the way it's always been all my life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and I feel very fortunate that we can live this lifestyle. Road life, it feeds our soul. It just, I don't know, that feeling that you guys probably have it when you're getting ready to go on vacation. We have that feeling all the time, that it's like, wow, what's up around the next bend? What's that spot look like? And we have seen some really beautiful sights, heard some beautiful sounds, and shared some beautiful times out here on the road together. I guess it's having that sense of freedom, being able to choose where you want to go next, where you want to stay. Maybe you want to enjoy the woods a little bit. Maybe you are contemplating road life. Maybe you're contemplating the nomadic lifestyle. There are people that have been doing this for years: house sitting, backpacking, tent camping, couch surfing, living in an RV, living Airbnbs. You know what? There are people, we're in this great timeshare this week, but there are people here that spend 6-8 weeks every year. They come down out of the north, they enjoyed this Florida sunshine. I mean, time to get out and do something.
So really, the definition of the nomadic lifestyle is whatever it is for you. And that's what we want you to know. It's not our lifestyle, it's not our opinion, it's not somebody else's opinion that you see on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. It's what you want and how you want it. You may be a sometime-timer, you may be a part-timer, you may be like us and decide to be a full-timer. It's okay, however you want it. You dream it, you design it, and you live it. And that's what you need to do. It's not too late. It's not too hard. You can afford it. You won't lose all your family and friends. It's gonna be everything you want it to be if you take the time, lay out your plan, and execute it. It really can be. If you want to be a nomad, you can do it. So the first step, we think, is defining what would your perfect nomad life look like.
What would you do? Where would you go? How do you want to live it? I don't even think we knew we were nomads until probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. We spent probably 250, almost 300 days on the road a year, and we lived in hotels all the time. We sold our house, and we actually moved into the hotel almost across the street from our house in Dover, and that's where our full-time nomadic life started. So,
it did. How would you get there? How would you do it? What would you do? See it in color. See it. Write it down. Talk to your significant other about it. But dream about it. Just dream about it. Not about, well, this, well, that, what if this, what if that, I don't know. Just first step. Take some time, dream about it, write it down. And if you have some questions about it, hey, reach out, ask us, let us know what your thoughts are. If you have some fear or frustration or apprehension, we're here to help.
we've been through it. We have lived some really scary times. We've lived some times that we weren't quite sure. And we also lived questions and the people that said, oh, you can't do that. You can't live a life like that. Well, guess what?
We have, we did, we raised
We
our kids.
do.
They're still okay.
They're
They
all
survived.
right.
We survived. Everybody else survived, I guess.
And
We love it.
we have some great friends all over the country. We keep in touch with them. We have some pretty creative ways. If you check out our website at thestromads.com, there are some really great tips there for connecting virtually when you can't be there, just like we're doing now. We're connecting virtually with you. We want to hear from you. We'd love for you to give us a shout, and think that we are going to close this one out.
Well, we're getting ready to close out, but before we do, guess what?
Ooh, favorite time.
It's a time for the shout out for our business friends and people. And the first people we're going to shout out are Mike and Missy, the Campaholics. And Mike and Missy have just learned this week why they had kids. They're in their 50s, but they've just figured out this week why they had kids. And that's because they joined the Grandparents Club, just like we did this week with our third one. But I believe that grandkids really are the reward for having kids and everything that you've suffered through for all those years. So congratulations to Mike and Missy and their kids and their new grandbaby. And we want you to...
And so many practical tips. Please check them out on YouTube at the Campaholics.
Yeah, they're new Grand Design ambassadors And congratulations on that as well. That is something that's super exciting. So again, check out Mike and Missy, the Campaholics.
Okay, for our number 2 shout out today, our friend Dave Murphy at Stumps Plus.
All right, so if you've got a tree that's down, or a stump that's left or rot and needs to be ground, or all things stumps, you want to talk to Dave. He will take great care of you. He is down in the Seaford, Delaware, Galestown, Maryland area. And even if you just have a question, reach out to Dave. He's a great resource. He'll guide you in the right direction and really take great care of you. So don't forget Dave Murphy at Stumps Plus.
And number 3 is Magnetic Marketing Social Media.
Wow, Carla Arovic, she is an incredible teacher if you want to find out about Instagram. All things Instagram, she's going to take you there. She's going to show you things that you just never even considered. She's got a great sense of how to really make sense of your Instagram.
Yeah, definitely follow her on Instagram. And when you do, give her a little message. Tell her that we sent you. She would love to hear that. Carla, we appreciate you and thank you so much for all that you have helped us with on our Instagram.
So there you have it. Another episode of the Stromads coming to you from Kissimmee, Florida. And we are happy to be here. Check us out, stromads.com. Subscribe to us, like us, and
Ring our bell.
ring the bell. Cheers.